there, it's Babs from Yarn People, and today I'm going to be showing you how we're going to work on splitting some cables. This is still Fisherman's Rib. The cables are still worked in Fisherman's Rib, and what we're going to be doing is using a 212 and a 12-2 cable transition, not to create extra cables, but to actually move the cables from the vertical position over. It's going to be over a pair of stitches at a time, so you start and create 2, 4, 6, and we're about to move on to creating 8 pairs of Fisherman's Rib in between the 2 cables as they are being separated. Now I've already knit along to just before where I'm going to start doing the movement. So I've got another 2 stitches to work. I'll have 2 stitches before the cable itself starts. The 12 stitches of the cable will start here. I'm going to stop 2 stitches before, which will be here. So I'll just work those first 2 stitches, clear them out of the way. Again, working as Fisherman's Rib, and we have a Fisherman's Rib tutorial if you need that, and we also have a cable tutorial for a Fisherman's Rib cable if that is required as well. So now we have our rib that we're going to be moving to the center portion, and we do that by using a cable process. So I'm going to take a double-ended cable, long cable needle, purely not for the 2 stitches that I'm doing this time around, but for the 12 that I'll need to move in a minute. So we'll take that through, put that to the back, because we're going to be moving the stitches across the back of the work, and then we're going to work the full cable across, so that is all 12 stitches in Fisherman's Rib. We're not going to be changing the cable, we're not going to be making any extra turns to the cable, we're simply moving it 1 block of stitches across to the right. So I'll work all 12 as per normal, standard Fisherman's Rib, working into the stitch below for the knit, and purl as regular for the purl. So we're nearly across. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches that cover the second half of that twisted cable. And now we're going to work from the 2 stitches at the back, which are over here, and we're going to be moving them all the way across to here to work them. And I'll show you the reverse of the fabric in a moment. I'm going to pull this through so it's not going to get in the way. Tuck that out of the way, and then we're going to work off of this needle, and it is incredibly tight back here, and you are still working Fisherman's Rib, so you will still need to work in the stitch below. So you need to open that up so you can see the stitch below. Hold on to the stitches with the right hand, otherwise they will fall off, as has just happened. Make sure you hold those tight, open that stitch up, and then work through the stitch below as you would normally. It's incredibly tight here, so be very careful, and then give yourself a lot of room on that stitch. Use up a lot of yarn to make that stitch. Purl round, bring the yarn to the front, and then work a purl as you would normally. Pop your cable needle down, bring the work back, and then continue on to work the center section in Fisherman's Rib as before. And then we're going to move, rather than moving the cable to the right on this side, we're going to move the cable 1 set of stitches to the left on the other side. So bear with me a moment. So here we are, and you can see we've got the leading edge of the cable coming across here. So this is where we're going to start to pick up our stitches. Now I'm going to move the needle in the back out. I don't want to be dropping any stitches by accident, and we're going to put 12 stitches from our left needle onto our cable needle, which is why 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm using such a long needle because it's really going to help. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, pull that through so everything's secure. This is our 12 stitches, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And these are going to be held to the front, so I pull everything through, let the cable needle hang down the front, and then we're going to be working 2 stitches. So if I get prepared, again, we don't want this to be too tight a stitch, but we do need it to be standard fisherman's rib. So we're going to work in the bottom, still keep it as quite a long loose stitch, so I'm leaving some gap here, and then we'll purl, and then I'm going to slide this through to keep this safe, because now we're working all 12 of these stitches off of the cable needle, and we need that extra bit of space to be able to work these first stitches. So let's go through and, as before, work in the bottom stitch and then work across those 12 in standard fisherman's rib format. And then what I'll do is show you the back, because once we've done this movement, that is your cable moved one step to the right over this side and one step to the left over this side. Again, as with any cable, when you're not actually physically moving stitches using the cable needle, then everything else is worked in standard stitch for whatever your pattern is, whether that's fisherman's rib, as in this pattern, or whether that is stocking stitch or garter stitch, whatever the standard is in between each of the actual cable moves, each of the stitch relocations, if you like. Everything else is worked standard. You don't really need to see a video of me doing lots and lots of fisherman's rib stitches in between, but that's how we've moved now. And we had 6 in between stitches, so if I just thread that through, we should now have 8 if I've done this all correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and there's the 8 hiding away in the background, and that is the 8 pairs of fisherman's rib that have been moved into the center. So what I'll do is show you the reverse, and as you can see, standard cable looks the same for fisherman's rib at the front as for the back, but where we're moving these stitches, we're not continuing to then work those into a cable. They're literally just being moved from the outer edge into the center, from the outer edge into the center, from the outer edge into the center, outer edge into center, and so forth. So that is what you see on the reverse, is these 2 stitches that are being dragged across into the middle of the work, that are being dragged across the width of each of the individual cables. Hopefully that's been useful, and you will now understand how to split your cables running from center alignment throughout into a V shape. Hopefully that's been useful. If it has, please give the video a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe to the channel for more knitting and crochet tips, and I'll see you next time. Until then, bye for now.